And with raw milk, it's not been homogenized, which means the cream sits on the top. In this video, I'm going to be showing you how to make homemade yogurt using raw dairy, raw milk from Jersey cows. It's the only type of yogurt I make. So, I mean, I guess you could use pasteurized milk. It's not as good for you for sure, and I've never done it before. So I'm not going to give any advice as to how to do that. This video requires milk, and it does not require a yogurt maker. In the past, I thought, you know, it might be cool to make yogurt, but I never actually did it because I didn't have a yogurt maker, and so that hindered me from making yogurt. But the truth is, you don't actually need a yogurt maker. You don't actually need a yogurt maker. Hallelujah. And I don't know why they even have yogurt makers, because it's like really easy. You can either do a quart to get started or 2 quarts. I do 2 quarts because I like to make a significant amount of yogurt, so it lasts me a few days, maybe a week. I choose my raw milk, and I get this from the farmer's market. Every Saturday I go to the Little Italy farmer's market. I'm sure you have a great farmer's market that you can find a good dairy vendor at too. If you don't, I've seen Whole Foods recently and Lazy Acres grocery stores carrying some raw milk products. Just depends on where you live probably. But if they don't have raw milk, always definitely make sure your dairy is from Jersey cow. Jersey cow or Swiss cow, because those are the type of cows that have the correct protein that you want to consume. And the other dairy, which is pretty much the only dairy you see in grocery stores and in restaurants, is coming from a Holstein cow, and that's not the type of protein that you want to have, because it just causes so many issues in our body. And that's why everyone thinks dairy is bad, is because it comes from the Holstein cow, which is actually a GMO cow. Basically, if the dairy doesn't say from Jersey cow or from Swiss cow, then it's definitely from a Holstein cow. So to get started, we're going to take my 2 quarts of raw milk. We basically want to get it warmed up. We don't want to cook it. We don't want to warm it up too hot, because then it wouldn't be raw anymore. I think raw milk is under 105 degrees. So basically we don't want to cook it too hot. So we're just going to warm it up like lukewarm, the temperature that it would be maybe for a baby's bottle. And with raw milk, it's not been homogenized, which means the cream sits on the top. So I'm going to shake it a little bit first before I pour it into the pot. I'm just going to warm it up a little bit, and it'll warm up really quick. So watch this. Here's my 1 quart. Nice dairy, milk, leche. Okay. And here's my 2nd quart. And again, you don't have to do 2 quarts. You can do 1 quart and just do half of what I do today. Then we're going to go to the stove, put this on the stove. And you're going to want to watch the milk closely, because if it goes past, as I said, 105 degrees, you have pretty much pasteurized it. Pasteurized it. And you don't want to do that. You want to keep all those live enzymes in the milk, because that's what's good for you. I'm going to do the finger test. I had a thermometer. I mean, if you're doing this for the first time, you might want a thermometer, just to give you peace of mind, and so you know that for sure you are doing the right temperature. So you can get a thermometer on Amazon. I had one and it broke, so now I'm just doing the finger test, and it's basically touching the milk and being like, this is lukewarm, so that's what I need. Okay, so stir the milk, and I'm going to touch it right now. So I'm already getting warm. Seriously, that happened really quick. Okay, I'm going to give that another 60 seconds. My newborn is in her rocking chair down here, and I'm rocking her with my leg so that she doesn't cry. 1 month. That's how old she is. Let's check the milk. Yep, it's done. See, that was really, really quick. Okay, now for this, I'm gonna bring my pot over here and we're going to transfer the milk to these lovely jars. These are 1 quart size mason jars, which I love. I have so many of them. I use them for pretty much like everything that I do because I do a lot of container stuff, and these are great because they're glass. You can store stuff really well in the fridge and the freezer. You can, I bought these in bulk. I don't know, I think I bought 20 in a package, and I don't know, maybe it was like 20 bucks, 30, I don't know. It wasn't very much, maybe it was less than that. Amazon, or you can get them at Target too in large quantities, and I would recommend buying them in large quantities because if you are going to start cooking like me, you are going to need these in bulk. So we're going to put the milk into these containers, and also if you don't have these pretty mason jars on hand, I'm sure you have other glass containers that you keep from like eating sauerkraut, or I have this lovely sauerkraut jar, or just like drinking green juices or juices. They come in glass bottles. Keep them. I have so many bottles in my cabinet and I use them all the time. Sometimes I don't need 1 quart jars. I need, what is this, 16 ounce jars, 2 cups. So warm milk. I'm going to go get a device to help me pour the milk into the jars. In a memento. Okay, I'm back. This lovely 1 quart size glass pitcher. I don't know what you call it. Basically, this is so I don't make a huge mess, although I might make a little bit of a mess. So I'm just gonna dunk this into my warm milk. And then I'm going to pour it controlled into my glass mason jars. Don't fill it up all the way because we have to put yogurt in, which is gonna be our starter culture. We need room for that. And then we're gonna do the next jar. Pour that in. Okay, and this is where it might get a little bit messy. Let's hope not. I'm going to pour this in. There we go. Oh yeah. Woo! Okay. We're gonna finish off pouring this milk into this jar. All right, see, that's where I make the mess, of course. I'm gonna fill up this little jar that I have. I don't know why that makes any sense. These are 1 quart jars, and yet the milk doesn't fit into them perfectly. Okay, next we're gonna need yogurt from a previous homemade yogurt batch, or you could also use, like if it's your first time, yogurt from the store. And I would use a high quality yogurt for sure. The one I've seen at Whole Foods is called, and I don't know how to pronounce this, it's either Saint Benoit or Saint Benoit, B-E-N-O-I-T, and that is a yogurt from Swiss cows. And I'm not sure if it's pasteurized, but it's definitely the right type of dairy. So I would recommend that brand, and they have it at Whole Foods. Otherwise, you can start your first batch off with another type of plain yogurt from the grocery store. Just try and find the highest quality grass-fed yogurt. Let me get some yogurt from my previous batch, which is in the fridge. Okay, here it is. This is yogurt from my previous batch that I made a few days ago. Now, yogurt can be an iffy process. It takes some testing sometimes. I never know for sure exactly what proportions to use, but what has worked for me well is, by the way, this is a double tablespoon. Let me stir this first. This has like the cream on top, so hold on 1 second. So it's in uniform. Oh yeah. That's the beauty of using raw milk. You get the cream on top, which is how yogurt should be. It's another thing I haven't talked about. The reason why you don't want to buy yogurt from the grocery store, the typical yogurts, is because they add so much filler, so much junk, like so many extra things that you don't need in the yogurt to make it thick. I don't know, to make it taste different, to preserve it so it can, you know, stay fresh longer. I don't know, there's just so much junk if you actually look at the ingredients in yogurt these days that you don't want to eat and you don't need to eat. You can make your own yogurt and it's really easy, as I'm showing you. So try and get away from buying store-bought yogurt. And I'm actually somebody who didn't even eat yogurt for the longest time, for years, because I just didn't like the quality of the yogurt that was on the shelves. So that's why I'm making my own. Okay, so we're gonna start with 2 tablespoons of yogurt from previous batch, or if it's your first time doing it from the store-bought yogurt. 2 tablespoons that I'm gonna put in each quart. So just put that in there. And then another 2 tablespoons in my other quart. Making this. Okay, there we go. Since this one is only 2 cups, which is half of 4 cups in a quart, I'm gonna do 1 tablespoon. Okay, I'm just gonna take, I do everything freehand, so I'm not like exact, but there's 1 tablespoon, pretty much. And then I'm gonna just put like a little bit more in each. So for each of the quarts, I'm gonna do like a little bit more than 2 tablespoons. So let's call it like less than 1 tablespoon. Okay, so freehand that. Here's another less than 1 tablespoon. And then for this little one down here, I'm gonna do like less than 1 tablespoon. So what is that, half a tablespoon? Okay, there we go. So put that in there, and that's important to stir it around really well to mix the yogurt starter culture with all of the milk. Okay, so stir that really nicely. You're not gonna believe it, but this is all that you do. And then you just let all of the cultures go to work. I normally do it overnight, so after dinner and after cleaning up the kitchen, I normally make the yogurt, and it only takes me like 10 minutes. Okay, I'm gonna put the lids on. I always tell my husband it's gonna take me like 5 minutes to do it, and he's like sitting there waiting for me on the couch. Somehow it takes a lot longer, but it really only takes a few minutes. You can put it in your oven with the oven light on, but I actually, strangely enough, find the best results by putting it in my microwave. I'm just letting it sit there. And if your microwave is above your oven and you use your oven that night, that's normally the best, because then the microwave is a little bit warmer, and you really want this to be in a warm environment, not a hot environment, a warm environment. So that's why if you leave the light on with the oven, that's good, but potentially the microwave might have more heat from using the oven that night. So I like to put it in the microwave. So I'm gonna do that. Don't use the microwave, just let it sit in there. We don't like the microwave. I hate the microwave. It's really bad for you. So I just use it to like store stuff in. Okay, so that's all. So now you are literally just gonna let it sit in there all night long, and then I don't have an exact period of time as to how long it should sit in there, but normally when I wake up in the morning, I don't know, maybe I'll take it out at like 10 a.m. So if I make it at 8 p.m. and I get it out at 10 a.m., that's like 14 hours. If you take it out at 8 a.m., it should be fine versus 10 a.m. You could even let it go until noon, and I'm sure it would be fine too. So just, you're gonna have to test it and see what works for you. This works for me, so that's what I do. Next morning, take your yogurt out of the microwave, and you'll see that it's a lot thicker. It's no longer milk anymore. It's like legitimate yogurt. Kind of runnier than you would expect from a grocery store yogurt. And that's one of the things with making your own yogurt, especially from raw milk, is you're gonna have a runnier product. So here's the decision you can decide to make. You can either keep as is and put it in the fridge and just use it in your smoothies. You'll never know how runny it was. And I use my yogurt in smoothies all the time. But if you like your yogurt thicker, like I do, I am gonna do this next step, which I'm gonna show you how to do. It's super easy, and it can either take you an hour, or it could take you 5 hours, depending on how thick you like your yogurt. I normally use this other bowl that's like much taller and deeper, but I'm using it for bone broth right now. So one of these guys, strainer, one of my go-tos. You definitely need this in your kitchen if you don't have one. You can put this, and it needs to have a handle so that you can sit it on top of the bowl. So do that, and then you're gonna need cheesecloth. And you can get these online. Just go on Amazon and buy a cheesecloth. And I normally fold it once. So see, it's like really thin. Fold it in half. And then I put it on top of my strainer. Like this. Okay. Then we're literally just gonna pour the yogurt into the strainer. Like this. And just let it sit there for an hour or 3 hours, depending how thick you like it. I would recommend maybe like an hour or 2 for a good consistency. And then all the liquid is gonna drain out of it below the strainer, and that's called whey, and whey is really good for you. It's a fermented product, and you are going to use whey for tons of other different types of cooking. I use whey all the time. So make sure you save that. If you don't know what to do with it at this point, it's okay. I'll have other videos where I show you what to do with whey, but it's really healthy. So store it in a glass container. It can store up to 6 months because it's fermented and it's alive. Don't throw it away, whatever you do, you need it. Let this sit here. It's already draining. In an hour or 2, we're gonna have yogurt. While this strains, I wanna give you a quick tip that's pretty important. So right when I take the yogurt out of the warm environment that it's been in overnight, I like to throw it in the fridge for a few hours, and you could even leave it up there for a few days in the fridge. I actually like to leave it there as long as I can because the colder it gets and the longer it sits in the fridge, it firms up more. The whey comes out very quickly when it's at room temperature, and you'll lose a lot of your yogurt very quickly because you're straining out the liquid. So if it's firm and it's colder, it'll go slower. You don't need to strain out all the way. Like, you definitely want some whey because otherwise you get that cream cheese consistency. And when you're done straining it, you will probably have about half the jar of yogurt. That's why I make extra 2 quarts at a time, is because I know that I'm going to be losing half a jar of yogurt when I do strain it. But I'll also be able to keep the whey, which is great, and I use that for so many other things. Here's the fun part. So this has been straining for about 4 hours. I really didn't need to leave it that long, but you know, I stepped away and that's just what happened. So we are going to pour the yogurt product into the container, and this is where it can definitely get a little bit messy. There. We're gonna take this cheesecloth and carefully, slowly, we're gonna pour in our yogurt. Don't worry if you drip a little bit, you can always clean it. So the runny part of the yogurt is gonna come out first, and then we're gonna be left with this very thick yogurt that's coming out right now, but we're also gonna have it in the cheesecloth. So now I'm gonna take the rest of my yogurt product and scrape it out with a spoon. I'm just gonna scrape all this out of my cheesecloth and put it into the jar. So you've got nice, thick yogurt. Okay, there we go. So you can see I've scraped everything out of the cheesecloth that I can. And now I'm going to give this a good stir. Really mix it up well so that the thick yogurt blends nicely with the thinner yogurt. Okay, now the reason why my yogurt filled this entire container is because I actually strained a 1 quart jar of yogurt with that smaller 2-cup jar of yogurt. So that's why I have a full jar. So look how nice that looks. Give it a taste. It's so good. It's not like store-bought yogurt. It's got a very different flavor, very tangy, sour, really wholesome. It's so good. Okay, one last thing, don't forget about your whey. This is so important. So this is my whey from a previous batch of yogurt. previous batches, and I'm going to just add the whey that I got from straining this yogurt, see, a little bit of liquid, into this jar. Perfect. Store this in the fridge. Store your yogurt in the fridge. Store your whey in the fridge. That is all, folks. Enjoy. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you liked it and you are into making your own healthy, nourishing recipes, or maybe you've never done it before and you want to get into it, please subscribe to my channel. I'm new on YouTube, but I have so many videos I'm going to be bringing you with lots of healthy, nourishing, traditional home cooking. Get pumped.
To be moving on.